We told you guys that we were done with Moment of Truth for the year, but in truth, we thought it was important to tell everyone a little bit about how we're reflecting on the year that has just passed and what we have planned for 2024. Look, it's been a fantastic year for us at American Moment. Politico magazine had an article and profile about us where they said that we are a small but scrappy organization reshaping the conservative establishment in Washington. High praise, or rather a bold observation. I think more and more every single day that is true. Feels like every single one of our programs has expanded dramatically this year and become ever more impactful. Our friends in the startup sphere, they have this term product market fit that they use to describe when the seed capital that has gone into an organization is used to generate the products that will make it worth the valuation that seed capital mandated. And I feel like we've reached that here in our own way in the nonprofit space. The Fellowship for American Statecraft, which many of you accurately see as one of our flagship programs, was over doubled this year. We had 22 fellows this summer, and almost every single one of them that was immediately employable after the fellowship has gone on to do incredible things right here in DC. I have no doubt that within that class alone, you will see multiple future chiefs of staff in the House and Senate, important presidential appointees, and people who will, in general, change everything about how DC works. That program now, thanks to our generous supporters, is going to be running year-round. We're going to be running fellows classes spring, summer, and fall in 2024. That's thanks to our generous supporters, but also because of the extraordinary demand for this program. Every day, I still get more people applying for that program than we have spots available to them. In fact, even this upcoming spring one, we're going to have to make some tough choices about how many people we accept. And I think the result is that our supporters are going to step up in an even bigger way to make sure that we can accommodate every single person who needs to get to Washington. AM Fridays, the summer lecture series that started because of the advice of two Senate chiefs of staff that I was close with, has now expanded beyond our wildest imagination. We hosted it this year in the Kennedy Caucus Room. Thank you to Senator Vance's team for booking that room for us for 10 Fridays straight. Now we had over 100 people every Friday coming and learning about the basics of what it means to share American Moment's priorities and values on every single issue, whether it's what conservatism is or how to be a great staffer, or each and every single one of the issue areas that are near and dear to our heart, whether it's immigration, trade, foreign policy, technology, culture, and so much more. That program will also be year-round next year. Foundations of American Statecraft, which is now that 60-unit curriculum that we delivered originally just to our fellows on Fridays. Thanks to a partnership with the Conservative Partnership Institute, we are now offering that year-round, and it's open to more than just our fellows. This fall, a bunch of interns from allied congressional offices and organizations participated in that program to get this super rigorous education on what it means to be a fantastic staffer, how to think about their role in Washington, and obviously the policy priorities that matter to us. Frontiers of American Statecraft. This is our advanced foreign policy programming. It's not just going to be foreign policy programming anymore. We've had 2 successful years of the foreign policy specific program, and I think we're going to spin up parallel ones on immigration, trade, and technology next year. Again, that is because of extraordinary interest from both staff here in Washington that want to see those programs succeed, but also because of our generous supporters. To meet this skyrocketing demand for all of our work, we had to grow our team this year, and what an incredible blessing it's been to welcome 2 new team members. Sarah Calvis, who joined us from our friends over at Project 2025, taking over as our personnel manager, and then Haviva Rubenfeld, who we met through AM Fridays this summer, helping us with operations on our team. We've been able to do so much more because of their help, more than I could ever imagine. It made it so that as August was rolling around, I almost started to look around and say, maybe things are getting a little bit too easy. And then God had a funny way of answering that temptation through a series of crazy events that I think would make for a fun short story one day. We are now going to also be in charge of National Conservatism Conference. Many of you have been hugely influenced by that conference. I know I certainly have. It's been held in the United States 3 separate times now, NatCon 1, 2, and 3, and also 3 times in Europe, in Brussels, in Rome, and in the UK earlier this year. American Moment will now take a leading role in planning, organizing, funding, and putting on that conference. And what a blessing it is to have come out of the intellectual soil that conference laid, and to come back and help make it strong, durable, and successful for the next decade. Dr. Yoram Hazony is an inspiration to all of us, and his highest and best use is to be advancing the ideas of national conservatism. And so we're just grateful to be able to help provide the operational support and the organizational vision to make sure that national conservatism is as successful as possible in the coming years. I'm not going to lie, next year is going to be very interesting. There's going to be elections in the United States that are going to require all of American Moment's work to come out into the sun. This pool of personnel, almost 1,500 strong, that we have been developing, training, credentialing over the last 2.5 years, they now have to be prepared to enter government. That's scary, but I think we'll be well suited to provide real value to an aligned president at the end of 2024. And even if we don't get the presidency, our impact has a much longer shadow than just presidential administrations. Our influence in congressional offices, our influence in the public policy organizations here in DC, even in the business world, is dramatic and exciting. The impact of what we are doing will be felt decades from now. It's already being felt sooner than expected, but certainly in the coming years, it'll become obvious that the cadre that American Moment has brought to Washington, D.C. is going to be hugely, hugely influential. We got a lot of attention this year from media. If I had my way, as I've told many of you over the years, this would be a completely dark arts project, almost like a glacier. You'd see a tiny, 10% poking out over top, and the rest of it would happen without any attention whatsoever. Unfortunately, that's not a luxury available to us. We have to market ourselves to bring new people into the fold and gain supporters and everything. And so it's been really impressive to see that the media coverage has, positive is a weird word to use for mainstream media coverage, but it has largely been recognizing of the real work and the real impact we're having in DC. All of this is possible because of our generous supporters. We have a community of supporters that has grown every single month since we were founded. Every month it feels like we meet someone new who wants to spend real treasure and time and energy making sure that we succeed. And then the other group of people this could never have happened without is the cadre of people who teach for us. I think we hosted close to 300 lectures this year between all of our programs, and we do not really pay our speakers to do that. They take time out of their busy schedule to come and spend real time with our students to make sure that they have the mentorship and the guidance they need in order to make a real impact in DC. None of this would be possible without them. Almost definitionally, everything American Moment does is in partnership with other organizations and charismatic people that we find real value in their public witness. So thank you to all of those different constituencies. Thank you to our team at American Moment. Nick Solheim, our Chief Operations Officer, who keeps the trains running on time and makes sure that all of this is possible. Jake Mercier, our Chief Creative Officer, who many of you, aren't even aware of the depth of the contributions he makes to everything that we have cooking here. Samuel Sampson, who has helped grow that supporter base dramatically and is an invaluable ally in making sure that we are continuing to have the resources that we need in order to do this important work. Sarah Calvas, who's been completely essential in helping us, support the personnel in our network to the extent that we can and should and must in order to have them succeed. And then Haviva, who's just been an absolute champion, helping make sure that operationally we can fire on all cylinders at all times, even remotely from Florida, where she does most of her work from. And then we have countless other people I could thank. Our producers on Moment of Truth, who help make this podcast look good and sound good every single week. Thank you to the team at Conservative Partnership Institute and the studios down in the basement there, Tiffany Kutris, Matthew Pearson, and so many others. Jared Cummings, who helps edit and put together this show every week. Zach Mabry, who helps with all of our accounting and financial and legal stuff. If you remember him from The Little Rascals, he's Porky, that GIF that you see when you open up your phone, and so many other people who have just helped make sure that this happens. Our board of advisors, Rachel Bovard, Theo Wold, Terry Schilling, Alexa Walker, Josh Hammer, and I've got to be forgetting someone. Oh man, that's going to be terrible. If Ryan Gerdusky, there you go. Ryan wouldn't mind. He's kind of annoying a lot of the time, and so it's certainly not a problem for me to forget him that first instance. It's just been an incredible year for us, and we're so grateful to all of our supporters that have made this happen. And I'll tell you, what we have planned next year is even crazier. We put together this president's letter to close out the year, and we had to make real choices about what we included, because there's stuff that's going to launch in January that's going to be extremely impactful. And so thank you guys for supporting us. As always, be sure to rate and review this podcast, subscribe to Moment of Truth, follow us on Twitter and Instagram and all the social media platforms. Donate to us at AmericanMoment.org/donate if you feel so inclined. And if we can ever be of any help to any of you, please reach out to us at AmericanMoment.org. Merry Christmas. We'll see you in 2024.